Yo, what's up? I haven't done an analysis video in a while, especially not for Overwatch, so I thought with the advent of the Nexus Cup beginning and kicking off, we've got the Dallas Fuel competing against the Shanghai Dragons, competing against the Seoul Dynasty of the Guangzhou Charge. I thought I would dive back in for some Overwatch analysis to show everybody the bits that I noticed heading into the 2021 season. So without further ado, let's get cracking. First of all, though, big shout out to my man right here, Avril, who has been doing some great co-streams of the events. Now, they're at stupid times for me, so I haven't been watching them live. I've been catching the VODs. So I've managed to pick up on a bunch of stuff that was missed live during the broadcast too. So I think this should be valuable for people who are paying attention. I'm going to be mainly following the Shanghai Dragons here, and when they played against the Fuel, and then when they played against the Seoul Dynasty, because I think there's a lot of interesting things to take away from it. Plus, they're an interesting team. They're one of the teams that I'm the biggest fans of because they play such a positional, intelligent style of Overwatch. Plus, they have a brand new main tank in Fate, so are they even going to be as good as they were previously? Here, in this instance, playing against a former teammate, Fearless, too. So let's take a look. The first thing that struck me was how they still are dominating the position on these maps. This was the second map of Volskaya, and the idea of playing 4 strong positions on the map is absolutely still there. So here they get a hack onto Fearless right at the beginning, and they are just going to fight over these high ground areas. They push these players away from Dallas. Dallas don't do a great job of being able to fight them for the territory. And look at this. Look how much map control they've already gained. They have control over this high ground area. Dallas Fuel have all been shoved out in this direction, and Fearless is just on his own over there. From this point, there's nothing that the Dallas Fuel can really do in order to contest the other players, the slower players on the floor, the backline basically with Lip, who are going to be rotating around the back and coming towards the point. There's nothing they can do to fight them. They're simply too far away. So they've given up all of this position on the point. And at this point, they've essentially won. Now they just have to repel the recon test, and they do that with gorgeous precision. Look at this. As Dallas Fuel gets set up, their Zen's in a worse position, their players are in the health pack room, and as soon as it looks like they're about to come out, you can see Exy on the point there harassing Void, but as soon as it looks like they're about to come out, the hack comes out onto Hanbin, Discord Orb goes onto Jexir, and Flutter and Fate just crush them in the room together. Look how well coordinated this is, because they know exactly what Dallas are going to do before Dallas even know what they're going to do. It's just obvious. They've taken all of this position, they've bought space for themselves, they've bought time for themselves, and they just wipe the floor with the Dallas Fuel. That's a clinical point A push from the Dragons on probably their best map. Like, historically, this roster's best map has been Volskaya, so this is as you would expect. Now, I highlighted this next clip in order to showcase how poor this meta really is for the Dallas Fuel. Dallas Fuel fans, your team got 3-0'd and then 3-1'd, I think, in this tournament so far, but don't lose all hope, because this is not a great meta for your team. Unfortunately, though, there's going to be a bunch of metas that aren't good for your team, so there are definitely worries to take away from this. But you can see that this, in the couple of the clips that I'm going to show here, this over-reliance on Exy playing the McCree really hurts them in terms of mobility and how slow the Dallas Fuel end up playing. So here, the Dragons are on the defense this time around. They were able to convert on the attack super easily. Following that point A offense, they just EMP on point B, easy peasy as you like it, 5-minute time bank. So here they're on the defense, and the Dallas Fuel are rotating around the right-hand side, okay? It's super obvious what they're going to do. They're just going to go up here and try and play with the McCree from the high ground, maybe drop down at some later date. So the Dragons know this, and they immediately are fast with how they're rotating their positions to play against this. The Dragons are in a better position to repel the Fuel attack before Fuel have even got into the position to attack properly. And as Exy comes out, he takes these burst shots from Ziyaki because Hanbin's defense matrix is not quite there, and they push everybody else out. And as these players continue to try and take the fight, because now they're pretty much committed, the Shanghai Dragons continue to rotate much faster, much more mobile. They've already got their backline into an aggressive position, not worried about crossing the sightlines because Exy is dead. And they're going to follow up. They find the kill onto Fearless. Jex is way too slow, just discarded in the back here, completely alone. And it seems like the Dallas Fuel have a lot of work still to do before the 2021 season in tightening up their teamwork. They look sloppier, honestly, and slower is the key term as well. But sloppier and slower than a team even like Guangzhou, who have made significant changes themselves. I think it was Wolf, but I could be wrong, who tweeted something like, if you're gonna try and necromancy this element mystic roster back to life in the Dallas Fuel, it's going to take some serious effort before the season actually begins. And I completely agree, because in these kind of moments, they just do not have the pace to be able to keep up with the tempo and the pace that the Shanghai are rotating around the map. So they get destroyed there, and here they're coming back in, right? And this is the clip that actually made Reddit, where the Dallas Fuel get 2 picks at the beginning of the fight based off the back of this EMP, all right? They immediately kill Izayaki. Lip goes for the counter EMP, but they punish him and manage to take him out. I think it's right here. Like, he basically just gets taken out by Fearless, because this is a classic Translocator spot, so Fearless gets both of those kills. But anyway, the important part is what happens next, because the Shanghai Dragons win this 4v6 fight. And I saw this clip got posted to Reddit, and it incentivized me to look into it a little further as well. But it's nothing. Okay, this sounds stupid to say it's nothing special, but it's nothing special for Shanghai. They just outplay them based on fundamentals of map control. So let's see what they actually do. So Void is playing on the point, gets pressured away, and essentially what they're going to do here is fight over the high grounds again. So Fate is up here, Void is playing at the back, where if you want to contest him, you have to kind of overextend a lot. These guys are playing really far up at the top. That's Fleder and Lee J gone. So if you want to try and fight them, you have to go very aggressive again. And with Exi on McCree, you really can't do that. Like, you just have to wait for the Shanghai Dragons to come to you. If you try and overextend and kill them, you're going to put yourself in a really poor position. So Shanghai, they slow the game down a lot here. They're going to give up Void's mech. They're going to give up 2 ticks, I think, and then they're going to come back in with the Transcendence to try and turn this around. The mines are also useful here in terms of just controlling position a little bit. So Fearless ends up getting picked, but at the end of the day, that's still a one-man advantage. The issue is what happens here, because the Dallas Fuel have got everybody on the low ground. They haven't fought for any kind of high ground control. They haven't got in a position to be able to make a coordinated play onto any particular player when they recontest. So now they are just positionally screwed. They have to kind of give respect to Fleder's McCree up on the high ground. That's the duplicate form. But Fleder's McCree doesn't really do anything. It's more so that they trade the rally. Sorry, it was a rally, not the trans. They trade the rally and Void's mech for just time and keeping map control. That's a really key theme when you watch the Dragons. They will trade ults, not for picks, but just to stay in control of areas of the map. And that's exactly what they've done here with that rally and with the duplicate form. And now they can come back in with the Transcendence and turn this around, because all of these players just get smushed into a corner at the back here. And the players that had tried to go a little too aggressive to cement themselves an advantage, like Fearless and like Doha, ended up getting picked off because the Dragons' positioning was so rock solid. Okay, so let's take another look. This is the final fight of the, well, basically the final fight. There's actually one more scrappy one after this, but the Dallas Fuel come back in, 50 seconds left on the clock, and now we're going to see a set play. Another big theme from this match was these set plays around Void's bombs. So I want you to take a look at just how well the Dragons set this up. So the first person that I want to highlight here is the roly ball. It's Mr. Fate. He's going to path like this, go around the side, come underneath Doha, and he's aiming. Sorry, I've drawn the arrow in a bad position there, but there you go. He's aiming to come out this door that's to the bottom right of Doha, at the same time as Void, who is positioned here, sends a bomb towards the back. And of course, this is all timed with the Dallas Fuel themselves rotating from one area to the next in terms of going from one doorway to the next doorway. And so you can see how this plays out.
None of the Zens have ult.
So Fate is already kind of behind at this point. Here comes the bomb. The bomb is in. Fleder also is committed at this point. Sorry, I've drawn that in blue, but whatever. Fleder has already committed across the point right now as well, because he knows that no one's going to be paying attention to him. So worst case scenario, he gets a really free dive in this scenario, in this situation. But okay, as the bomb comes in, what I want to highlight here is that Fearless has just sorry, not Fearless, Fate has just rolled through here, managed to get a grapple, and slammed in the middle of everybody. And that levitates, I think, 3 players, Jexe, Repel, and Exi, if memory serves. And they get trapped. They're trying to path from door to door here trying to get into the safety of this area, and they just get caught, and the Diva Bomb catches all three of them. Yeah, it is. It's all of the kind of less mobile players, Jexa, Repel, and Exi. And this play is so good because they don't see Fate coming whatsoever. All of the attention is on Void's Diva Bomb, and they just land this 3k bomb. It makes Void look like a god, but it's all teamwork. It's fantastic when you watch the Dragons play. They've got so many plays that even if they don't win, their method of play leads to consistent results, because even if it doesn't work 20% of the time, 80% of the time, it's going to give you an advantage. You're just running plays that are going to, they're percentage plays. They will give you an advantage in the team fight. All right, so let's take a look at this one. This one is King's Row. And we've got a situation where the Dallas Fuel are on the defense and the Dragons are attacking. And I want to watch how Void is pocketing Lip here. So as Lip goes for a hack onto Fearless, look at this. So this is beautiful. What I love about this play in particular is that normally these ball players have gotten very good at being able to counter the Sombras hacking them. We saw it, there was a whole meme about it with I think it was Eamon last season, probably was, anyway, where people were saying, oh, he's so good at ball, he can counter the Sombras. The thing is, if you've got a good team play, there's nothing the ball can do in this instance, because Void just comes in and he pockets Lip so that he gets a guaranteed hack off. This is similar to like playing your Sombra for hacks behind a Reinhardt shield, or playing your Sombra for hacks inside a Winston bubble, or other things that have happened in different metas. But in this meta, your Sombra is very open unless you're pocketing them with the defense matrix. So in this position, Void was just a freak in this entire map. Here, gets a lovely hack onto Fearless, and they almost get this kill. Now, this is one of those 10% of the times where, like, the actual attempt, the thought, everything about that is good. It ends up not working out because they overchase Fearless, and Dallas have good pocketing. Anyway, let's move on to a next one as well. Dragons are trying to come around here. Again, playing positionally. King's Row, another really good map for them. They've flanked around the bottom area. They've taken control of the indoor areas. And I just want to pay another just small amount of attention to how Void uses his defense matrix here. It's always synced up perfectly with the rest of his team. As Izzyaki goes for the Discord orbs, Void is right there to be able to block him. Or rather, to be able to peel for him. And this is just a constant theme that happened all the time throughout King's Row. Now, here in this fight, Exi gets a pick onto Fleta, so 5v6. And this is where we see the themes returning. Another 5v6 clutch is going to happen right here, where, again, the Shanghai Dragons are going to invest ultimates. The ultimates are not to get a pick. They don't give them an advantage in the fight. What it does is keep them even in the fight, and they maintain the good positioning on the map that they have previously fought for. So here you go. Izzyaki's trancing in a 5v6 scenario. It forces out the ult coming out from Repel as well, because Fearless got too low. So they ult to save Fearless, because otherwise it's a 5v5 with faster spawns, and they're worried that Lip's EMP can change the fight for them. So Repel's Transcendence gets forced out. Here, Lip gets pressured out a little bit, but he does have the EMP that they can come back in with. But what we're going to see is, it's not so much Lip's EMP that turns the fight here, but another Void set play. And again, we've got a similar situation. You're going to see Lip EMP, and it catches 3 players, sure, but the follow-up is really far back. So it's all about how you convert based on this. And what you can see here is that Void has sent his Diva Bomb up and over around the back, which creates just a death zone all in this back area, and forces the players of the Dallas Fuel to path, I should draw this in blue, but whatever, to path into Hotel. And what's waiting for them in Hotel? It's a rally. It's the entirety of the rest of their team. And so this duo of Izzyaki and Lee Jae-gon, with Lee Jae-gon on the rally, just destroys them. And not only do they get caught in the self-destruct itself, but their positioning is just manipulated the entire time. It's fantastic to watch. Okay. So here's Void just being a nut with the Diva Bomb. We just watched this. The very next clip is Void, again, just being everywhere at once with his defense matrix. I talked about how good he was being able to, aggressively use the defense matrix to pocket people when they want to peek, like Lip when he was trying to get the EMP, when he was trying to get the hack onto Fearless, and here, just perfect onto Fleta. Fleta's got the duplicate, but he's stunned up. Oh, I mean, that is just a gorgeous defense matrix to keep Fleta alive. Fleta goes over to the Diva here. and it's superb from there. Another little note too is that while watching Fleta, he's using his duplicate in almost all of these scenarios just to be able to survive, just to be able to get a second life and allow him to play a little more aggressively. The rest of his team doesn't really pocket. They don't pocket Fleta that much. He's not the power player for them. They like to revolve around Lip and around the tanks and pocketing Izayaki. And just playing good positional play on the map rather than trying to give a ton of resources to Fleta. So Fleta just kind of uses his ult to be able to play that a little more aggressively when it's required of him, because he always has that get out of jail free card. All right, again, final fight of King's Row. What kind of themes have we already touched on here? Positional play, ult usage, to be able to stall out fights in clutch. Well, this is the positional play again. They're going to fight over high ground, and just returning to this same concept that we've discussed with the Dallas Fuel, running Xe on the McCree, there's nothing they can do. Let's go on a little tangent here as well and try and discuss the Dallas Fuel's holes in their composition. They don't have a Tracer player. Sparkle's going to play it. Xe played it like once during this match as well, but they do not have a Tracer player that's anywhere near the caliber of top-level Tracers in the league. When they played against Eileen, Eileen was slapping them. When they play against Prophet, Prophet will slap them. When they played against Fleta, Fleta was slapping them. There's no comparison with Xe and Sparkle or Doha compared to anybody else. So that's a huge gap in their pool immediately. And they also just kind of lack like some really core other heroes too for this meta. For example, the Ashe. Xe can play it, but Xe's McCree and his Widowmaker are way better than his Ashe. His Ashe is not top level, but his McCree and Widowmaker really are. And so Fuel have got a pretty inflexible trio, because no matter who you have subbed in, there are massive holes in terms of what the hero pools are available for those DPS, and it's something that they're going to get abused on when they play in North America. It's one of the reasons why, even though the roster got formed and it's like a super team, they've been slowly slipping down people's power rankings from like, oh, these guys need a podium finish, they have a strong chance of winning, to being like, well, I guess they're like 4th best in NA. Anyway, let's take a look at this clip in particular here. So this is the final fight, and look at this high ground control. Similar kind of stuff to what they were doing on Volskaya, where they've got Fate and they've got Fleta playing up on this high ground area. Sorry for the bitrate problems, but they got Fleta and Fate up on the high grounds, pushing away Fearless and not allowing anybody else to come and play around them. Hanbin can't really contest this area either, because they need to pocket Xe in this scenario. So it's not that the Shanghai Dragons have taken a lot of space. They haven't gone super aggressive, but they've taken a high ground area behind the rest of their team from which they can have a lot of success moving forwards.
Unless you're trying to punish.
So here we see the Deadeye coming out from Xe, and Fleta's just prodding. They've done a lot of damage with this combo of like the crossfire coming out from Fleta prodding at them from this direction, and Lip prodding at them from the long range direction as well. You know, you can see these guys are really weak. I think that was a shot from Lip. This was a shot from Lip, and I think this is majority pressure from Fleta. So now Hanbin's gone up to try and contest Fate and Fleta. Hanbin gets demeched. And Hanbin uses his self-destruct to try and recover the mech, and the Shanghai Dragons are so confident that they can get in, kill Hanbin off, and then get out before the self-destruct comes out, because they're that coordinated with their focus fire. So this bomb doesn't really zone them at all. They just get in, get out, hide behind the cart, survive, get a pick, and now look at all the positional advantage here. They have control over this area with Fleta. They have control of all of this avenue because they squeezed the Dallas Fuel into a tiny little area and funneled them out the back. And as you see the third person here, it's just obvious who's going to win this fight. I mean, look how pushed they are into a corner. They've been shepherded and, yeah, just contained completely. And Shanghai easily convert based on this one.
In a 1v1 versus Fleta and Spawn, Fearless is dead, so he can't contest.
So now they're going to go over to the defense, the Shanghai Dragons. And the first point, they actually lost very quickly, because Lip was picked early off on the Sombra, then Xe went kind of nuts. And so 4-minute time bank you're looking at here on point B. So the Dragons are in a little bit of trouble. And so the Dragons need to try and recover this. And what you're going to witness is a sick play from Fleta and a really coordinated Void Diva Bomb, which is another, set play kind of thing that they just keep pulling out again and again and again. So, Lip is here with his EMP, pops the EMP, tags a couple of players, but immediately you see Hanbin use his ultimate to try and peel. They've reactively popped the rally as well, so these guys are pretty good. The Fuel, they're pretty good. They reacted to that really nicely. And this defensive bomb is going to zone out anybody that was in position. What I love here, though, is that Fleder's duplicate immediately copies Jexit on the floor to be able to give him a shield to Hanbin's bomb. So not only does he grab a duplicate for that extra life, I mean, even if he had copied, let's say, Repel in this situation, he would have survived the self-destruct because, you know, your duplicate just gets killed and you're straight back to being an Echo, which is still a great thing. But here, the copy onto the Brigitte is just perfectly timed to be able to get his shield up, block Hanbin's bomb, and then he's able to generate a rally. And this fight, even though Fuel have advantages and they've slowed it down and they've weathered the storm of the EMP and they've weathered the storm of the rally, and they have all of the armor advantage here as well, and they have Xe, who should, in theory, Fuel should be in a good position here. But Fleder's duplicate form and the fact that Dragons are able to slow down this fight so much because Dallas Fuel are playing such a slow composition with the McCree just plays into their hands. And again, we see this play where Void's bomb comes in the front and Fate has gone on that long flank around the back and he's booped forwards both Xe and Repel. So Xe and Repel, that was the little boop that you just saw. I'm going to play it again from Xe's POV. So we move over to Xe's POV. Remember, Fate's gone for this long flank round to be able to get the boop on them as the Diva Bomb comes through. And you'll see it from Xe's POV. He gets booped just now. And that's exactly the same thing that happens to Repel. They both get booped out of safety, straight into the Diva Bomb. And although Xe manages to squirrel his way away, Jexit is not so lucky, giving them an advantage in the fight. Again, just a beautiful set play from the Shanghai Dragons. And the longer you give these guys in the team fight to do this kind of stuff, the better they're going to be. If you play slow against Shanghai, they're going to squeeze you out. They're always going to have a set play that they can go to. They're always going to have the better positioning on the map because they'll constantly be looking to fight for it. And they just clean this up. That's what Avril's saying right now. Every time Void ults, it seems like he gets a kill. But it's not just because Void's ults are placed perfectly. It's because he's always comboing with Fate booping from the side as well, which is a great sight if you're a Dragons fan and you're worried whether Fate would not fit into the lineup, which I would definitely put myself in that pool. Here's the final clip that I want to show from the Dragons versus the Fuel, again on King's Row here, the final map. This is more defense, and this kind of ties a lot of the different points together. Fate's going to ult around the right-hand side to lock off the flank, but Fleder dies. So Fleder's caught here, and the Dragons are in a 5v6. Are they going to lose? They probably should do. It's something like, I mean, the statistic used to be that you lose 80% of the fights where you lose a player at the beginning, sometimes even more. But for the Dragons, this law of Overwatch, which has been around since 2016, does not seem to apply, at least against the slower, sloppier teams like current Dallas Fuel, who haven't really got their teamwork together just yet. So with Fleder dead, what do they go for? Well, they immediately know their win condition is Lip's EMP. So they are pocketing Lip's EMP. Oh, they're pocketing Lip to gain his EMP. Discord Orb is on Lip, but Void is there, well positioned. Here again, you know, just got the defense matrix on him the entire time, allowing him to build up this EMP in the fight. He's at 97%. He gets 99%, comes out. They use their Transcendence. They're initiating with Transcendence here, not because they want to immediately get a pick and play fast, but because they want to keep their positioning on the map, and they want to keep Fate alive to be able to have have that exact same position so that they can end up winning it over the long term. Lip comes in with his EMP, but Repel is there to answer. Nice play from Repel. But crucially, Lip continues to do work by finding a pick onto Sparkle, who was EMP'd but outside the range or outside of LOS of the Transcendence. And then Lip finds another manual hack here onto Jexa, who's, take a look at this. Manual hack onto Jexa, who's just about to get up to his rally. And this is a game changer because that gives Lee Jae-gon the rally advantage, and the longer this fight goes on, without Sparkle on Tracer, and with Lee Jae-gon coming back in, Fled has come back in on the Tracer by now already as well. It's just inevitable. It is just inevitable. And by playing their positions perfectly, forcing the fuel to overextend into them, and pocketing their key players, always having a good idea of what the win condition is, they're able to wrestle away that victory. Just fantastic play from the Dragons. Now, the Dragons did go on the next day to lose to the Seoul Dynasty. So keep your eyes peeled for my channel tomorrow, and I'll be giving you a breakdown of what happened in that game and why the Seoul Dynasty were able to crack the Dragons.